Hi, everyone. Welcome to Lolita 201 Advanced Coordination. I'm your host, Kaiser, and I will be taking you through kind of really cool, fun, complicated concepts of like putting together a really like advanced outfit. So I definitely recommend this for like Lolitas that want to learn how to like kind of step their game up when it comes to creating coordinates from like the concept all the way to finish. So yeah, my name is Kaiser. My pronouns are she/they, and I hope that you learn a lot through this course. There will be a Q&A session toward the end, but if you have any pressing questions, also let me know. So let's get started. All right, so you want to do advanced coordination, huh? I gotcha. One of the very first things that's really important about doing advanced chords is having a theme, a motif, or inspiration. Just the overall concept to your chords is super important. And they could be anything from like this really cool, fun accessory to like an overall fashion style that you see on the runway that you want to kind of replicate in Lolita. It can be a photograph. It can be a movie. It can be a storybook. It can be one of your favorite places, an artist. This is really cool. AP Candy, who's like has really famous coordinates on Twitter because they used to work for AP. I think they don't work for AP anymore, but they still make these really gorgeous coordinates. They all help kind of tell a story with the outfits. You can also look at the runway for inspiration. So the runway always has like really interesting silhouettes. Like I think this is I think it's Dolce & Gabbana for this year, for 2020. They did this really like gorgeous kind of like Renaissance style, like really over the top kind of fashions. Even this one down here, you could look at, for example, like if you wanted to do a punk Lolita chord that kind of incorporated a lot of this like really like stark black and white like graphics. So it's really just like not only looking for inspiration within Lolita, but also looking for inspiration outside of Lolita to kind of bring back into the fashion. I think that's what really makes a really strong, really unique chord that people react really well to. So yeah. Next is we're going to talk about like, so while this is like the kind of big picture that you see overall for what you want a concept behind Lolita, like your Lolita outfit, you kind of always want to have an idea of like what you're trying to convey with your outfit as well. So the next part is going to like kind of break down like 4 things that I think that if you want to understand how to coordinate in an advanced manner, you really need to consider when you're putting your outfit together. And this is like a really good start.
Kaiser, hello. This is Alexis, the tech person. It seems that we're not, if you're changing your slides in the PowerPoint.
Not yet. Not yet.
Okay. Okay, yeah. Cool. People were worried.
Okay, sorry. It just is a very long slide. Yeah, thank you. So also before I get into like more about, the four pillars you're going to break down into, I'm going to let you know a little bit about myself. So I kind of like really like to dress in different styles all the time. I like to incorporate different textures. I like to incorporate different motifs. I like to incorporate different color stories. Like for example, for this one, I just wanted it to kind of be like about like nurse and like blood. So I like had these Triple Fortune blood tights. I had this AP like sheer apron because it kind of reminded me of blood. So this is kind of like the type of things that I think about when I'm putting outfits together. And like I've also like won several coordinate contests. Like this coordinate contest, I twinned with a really good friend of mine. We were inspired by the cats on the dress, so we made like these Baroque cat ears. This one too was like for a magical school kind of theme for ILD, and I was like a summoned familiar. So I like really think about these things while I'm putting out like my outfits together, even if some people don't necessarily get it or understand it right away. It's something that I like to keep in mind when I'm dressing up. So these are like the 4 main things I think will help you like make a really cool cohesive outfit if you think about these things while you're getting ready. So one of the really important things is layering. So like how can you add complexity to your outfit by doing layers? That's like super important, and it's like a really basic one, but I think sometimes people miss it because sometimes it's not always like this really over the top outfit where you're like wearing something really fancy. Sometimes layering can be used for really, really simple casual outfits too. The other thing is patterns. So like, how do you play with patterns on your like body? Because the thing about Lolita is that it's a really like, if you already know a lot about it, it's like we're always really restricted by the silhouettes. So it's always like, okay, baby, like, empire waist, high waist, like, drop waist. Like there's very like set rules for how the base silhouette works. So I think what also makes it really advanced is when you start breaking those rules a little bit in a way that's really effective. Patterns is a really great, easy one because you can wear, like, if you look at this girl's cardigan, like she has hearts on her cardigan, that's a pattern, even though like it doesn't stand out as much as like what she has going on with her dress. And then her shoes, like her stockings, like there's all these like really fun ways that you can play with the shapes and the color on the silhouette versus just like, always looking at just a solid color and then like, okay, I have a cardigan that's a solid color. It's like, how can you make it really fun? And I think she does a really good job of that. The other thing is like the silhouette. That's like a really, really simple one too, but look at like the shapes that your clothes are making. So like, there's like shapes here. There's like really puffy shapes here. The silhouette of the dress. The shoes are a really unique shape. So things like that. The hair is a really unique shape. So that's what the silhouette means. So it means like, what are all the shapes that your body and your clothes are making? And I feel like if you learn or you master these things here, like it really affects how you dress overall and how you kind of perceive and play with fashion, because like a lot of this about this like panel is kind of like understanding what makes a really, really like impactful, like fun outfit and really creative too. Like I think that's like all the important parts of it. The last thing too is like texture. So it seems like something that.
Sorry, guys, are checking in again on the slides.
No, I haven't moved slides yet.
All right.
Thank you. So texture is really important. Like if you look at this person's coordinate at the end. Is my thing working? Yeah. This one right here. If you look, you can see that like there's a lot of textures going on. So there's like a velvet, and then there's like a PVC, and then there's like the PVC boots that go back to the gloves. So it's really thinking about all these things and how they relate to each other and how you tie an outfit together with things that you don't normally find in Lolita. So I think that's also the other part, is that like you're looking at stuff where it's like, oh, like, would you have like PVC gloves and PVC like boots, and then how would you make that into an outfit? And you're wearing PVC with like a very matte fabric. So like you're making a lot of points of interest, and it's like approaching how to dress from like a very artistic perspective and like a lot of like design principles and things like that. I'm a designer by trade, so that's kind of how I decide like to dress up and how I look at fashion and things like that. So I think I'm going to go into different outfits that I think are really, really unique and kind of give you like a play-by-play on like why that outfit is so good or like why it's so amazing. Because I think understanding why other people's outfits are really great will help you kind of understand like what you want in your style and what you want to pull out of your clothes and what you want to pull out of your wardrobe. And yeah, so it's like, it's a lot. I'm trying to, what else? Yeah. So, okay, let's get into like the different outfits that people wear and like why they're so good. So I chose Avena. I don't know if a lot of you follow Avena online, but they have really great outfits too. And they do a lot of, I think, what is advanced, because they've been in the fashion for some time now. And I think they do a lot of advanced coordinate with with all their outfits that they post. So this one that you've been looking at, the whole motif was actually drawn from this sweater. So sometimes this is what I'm talking about when you get inspired by a motif, like, which is like a symbol or icon or something really relatable, and then you're taking it throughout the whole outfit. So you have this heart, and they said they were really inspired by the hearts on the sweater to then have like, a heart-shaped beret and then a heart-shaped bag. I know it seems really simple, but it's something that I think a lot of people sometimes miss. Is just like, if you have like an icon or a motif that you're trying to bring throughout, try to put it in as many places as you can. So here you have it on the sweater, the hat, the purse. So you're kind of figuring out like, oh wow, okay, like these are different places that I can do that. then the other thing is like layering. So this is like, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's like an OP, and then it has a sweater layered over it, which a lot of people like, it's really hard to coordinate OPs. So that's like a really, really great way to like think about layering, think about what you can put on top of it, what you can put under it, what you can do to change the neckline. Like you're trying to transform this like really basic dress into something really wonderful is kind of what the idea is.
Kaiser,
Yeah.
Are you showing a different screen with pictures on it or something?
Yeah, I'm showing one where it's like this.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think we're screen sharing. So we're screen sharing the slideshow right now, but it's only the slideshow. It's not that other one.
Oh, you mean this one? This one?
Yeah, I actually don't see that. I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's okay. Hold on, let me see.
I'm going to take your slideshow out, and we're going to put. Can you redo the screen share?
Yeah, I can redo the screen share. Let's see. Stop screen.
Everybody, I'm so sorry about the confusion.
Whoops.
We're getting you the beautiful pictures.
Let's see. Share screen. I'm just gonna put the entire screen so that.
Yeah, perfect.
Allow.
I was asking the wrong questions.
It's okay.
Thank you, chat, for sticking with me.
Can you see this one?
Adding to stream. Hang on.
This?
Boom. There we go.
All right. So yeah, previous slide, layering, pattern, silhouette, texture, and then this is the outfit, and kind of like the rundown of the outfit. Yeah, is it good now?
Yes, it is good now.
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, so this is a really, really good example of like you had a motif and then you brought it throughout like the hat, the purse, and then you have patterns. So you have like this stripe and this tartan and this like hearts that are going on. So, and you're kind of giving it a break too. So that's like the thing about playing with patterns is you got to give it a break somewhere, like a place for the eye to rest, which is very like design oriented thing. So like here's like the pattern on the collar is like really busy, and then you get to the shirt and it's kind of like calm, and then you have like, okay, boom, like here's another pattern and here's another pattern, and okay, the boots are solid. So like it takes a lot of practice and like laying out your outfits and kind of like looking at it and saying like, okay, where would the eye rest and what shape am I making? So then this other coordinate that Avina also did that's really, really wonderful. And it was, I think the theme was the part that was really strong about it. So it was like, take something like a devil and then you turn it on its head in terms of the colorway. So instead of like, it's like Shiro devil versus like, devils are always like black or like red. So this is like really, really cool the way it was done. A lot of the layering is really important with this. So like you can see that top layer that's sheer, then you see the layers under it, then you see like the socks, and there's like a lot of places that your eye goes to visually that's really, really interesting. And then you have like this really cool like leather harness that's kind of like cinching in like the shape and creating this really wonderful shape here. And then you have like the horns, right? So like when you see it, you're like, oh, I get it. And then you see all the places where they're creating points of interest on their fashion, which I think like the big thing about JFashion is doing things like that, is really like understanding the silhouette and then kind of deconstructing it. Okay. So here's a couple more in like different styles that kind of like incorporate those things that I was discussing, which is like the layering, the patterns, the texture, the silhouette. This one is really cute because it's like, I know that on this dress, there's like swans on it, but the fact that like she went and like did, she made this purse with these plush on it, and then she did like the plush on the shoes, and then she did the plush on the hat. Like that's just taking like a really interesting motif and putting it in different places so that you're like, oh, I get it. Like you understand what you're looking at. And then doing really fun layering, like under here, doing this really cute polka dot like sheer shirt with like the little bolero over it. And then the accessories is like really, really smart and just a really cute execution overall that kind of incorporates all those ideas. For Maho Money, like the reason why I picked this one is because I think like it's really unusual to see a hoodie in Lolita. And I feel like people don't know how to sometimes dress down Lolita and how to do it casually. And I think that's also really important because you're not always going to want to be like dressed to the nines when you're enjoying your wardrobe. And it's kind of part of building a cohesive wardrobe is you being able to grab things that are kind of like more like, I think all these outfits have that too, like that sweater that Avina was wearing and like these sneakers, like these are not things like typical Lolita items. And I think that's kind of like a good direction to go in because I think it still looks like Lolita. Lolita at the end of the day is a street fashion, and Lolita from where it started is very different than what it is now. Like, I think if a lot of people are looking into like the whole old school trend that's happening right now, it's really, really different than, you know, what we're used to. Now it's like prints and things like that. So back to Maho Mini's, like Maho Money's coord, it's like, all right, here's a polka dot, so that's a pattern. It's making this really great shape. The hoodie's making a really great shape. It's a Hello Kitty hoodie. It's really casual. And then you have these really cute like polka dot socks and then some sneakers. Because again, you don't always want to like be dressed to the nines. I mean, some people I know they don't mind either way, but it's like if you can find a way to kind of like dress down and make Lolita really casual, I think that's really great too, because it'll like kind of extend your wardrobe, because now you can go to the store and you can go to work and you can go to different places and really get to enjoy your wardrobe to the fullest. It's not always like, oh, I have to make this like amazing perfect coord every time. Like sometimes simplicity works too. So then here's Polaire Woods, and Polaire Woods I think is like really look at Polaire's like coordinates, because there's just always so much interesting things going on when you're looking at it. Like here, there's a lot of layering. So you have like this dress that's under here, then you have the corset that's on top, and then you have all the different colors that are going, all the different creams. Like sometimes it's okay to mismatch colors to kind of make it interesting, because if this was all the same color, it'd be kind of a little bit like boring, but you can see they're all like varying types of off-whites. And when you're making like more monochromatic coords, you kind of want to like, sometimes you do want them to be a little off from each other, but you want them to be like, the best way to describe it is like you want either all cool colors of red or all cool colors of like a gray or a white, or like all warm colors. So even if the shades are a little bit off, at least they're within the same family of color, which is like a basic color theory thing. But anyway, back to like Polaire's like coords, it's really great is like you have this texture from the corset. It's like this tapestry kind of like floral, next to the fur, next to the lace, next to the tulle. Like it's just, you like every time you look at the outfit, you get more details and more like really, and like, you know, there's pearls around Polaire's neck, and then the makeup and the hair. You know, all these things are like really important to look at when you're making your outfits, because you can get like a clear theme out of everyone's outfit. And it's across different styles. So it doesn't really matter if like you dress gothic or you dress sweet or you dress like otome or you know, all the different styles. It's important to kind of understand these like concepts, so that you could make outfits that are just a little bit more than, you know, a JSK with like a sheared, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you want to step your game up a little bit more, then you kind of have to start looking at like those little details, because they make an outfit really great. Okay. So more amazing outfits. So this is Artemis Argy. I'm sorry if I'm like messing up the names, the usernames, but please follow all these people, because I think they all have like really amazing coordinates. So with this one, like, you know, I asked like, what was the theme? And the theme was like dark romance, because it was a Valentine's Day coordinate. And the thing that's really cool is that you get like, if you look here, there's like this puff sleeve, and then under the puff sleeve, there's like a black like lace layer, and then over that there's like this cuff that's going on, and you're making like all, so if you look, it's like all shapes, like there's a shape at the waist, there's a shape of this over here, there's also like the jagged edges of the tulle, and then the tights have this really cool pattern on it, and then these really amazing shoes, and then those are like the type of things you want to look for when you're and look at things outside of Lolita. Like I know people like, it's like some people don't like it, some people like it, but like the harness thing, like it's a trend that's from outside, like outside fashion trend that you're bringing into Lolita. And I think that's what keeps it like kind of fresh and fun and really like forward thinking when you're like looking at like, oh, what's going on in the fashion world? Can I bring it into Lolita? Because I think like there was like a trend of like everyone was wearing like overskirts and peignoirs, and then a lot of brands started doing that in the clothes. So you kind of see how like sometimes a trend will go back into Lolita, and then it'll like influence future designs, and then you'll get dresses that have things that like weren't there before. This is like really like classic kind of cute, sweet, old school motif, which is just doing like Milky-chan. So Milky-chan is like the point of the fashion, and you see Milky-chan here, you see Milky-chan here, and then on the socks, and then you have all these really cute like little pieces everywhere. They kind of draw your eye around to look around the outfit. Milk Circus has like really great outfits that are like a lot of playing with pattern. that's a really complicated one. Like if you play with pattern, and I definitely recommend practicing, because like this works really well because like this is really busy. And even though this is busy, it's significantly less busy than what's going on here in the main dress. And then you have like a really cute like purse because it's like all food and popcorn themed. So I picked another Maho Money outfit too, because there's just like the sweater has a really interesting like pattern, and then it's a different texture than what's on the shirt, and it's a different texture that's on the skirt, and then the purse is different, and then the purse matches back to the shoes. So like you can really like start critiquing and breaking down people's outfits based off of like the choices that they're making, like more like accurately, and understand like why they're making these choices. Like this is a very casual outfit compared to this that I think is like something you would see at a photo shoot, you know, but both styles are still really valid and really important to have throughout. Okay, so this is like for more to me, like if you want to do like really over the top kind of coordinates. So like the other ones are like casual, there's some over the top, but this is like more about the silhouette. So like while the other ones, it was like pattern and then theme, this is more like what are the shapes that the clothes are making on the body, because that's like super important, like fashion concept. So like you see like the hair is making a certain shape. Whoops. The cake is making a certain shape. Then there's like the fork and the spoon. Then there's these bows. Then there's like the really cool, unique shape of the skirt and the different materials. Then the shoes are a really unique shape as well. So then you're looking at all these shapes, but then when you look at it together, you realize, oh, this is like a theme too. Like it's like supposed to be like a really cute, like circusy kind of theme. So you kind of get that when you look at it, and it makes it really cool. For this one, it's like, it's really hard to coordinate long dresses, actually. And I think a lot of people struggle with that. So one tip for like coordinating strong, like long dresses that I think like Sporky got right on is everything around the dress needs to be super like well thought out and cool, but it needs to like kind of play second to the dress. So the dress has this really dramatic like pattern, and there's black in it. And then you're going to have like black in the skirt, in the underskirt, in the parasol. The shoes are a really unique shape. Then you get down to like, there's this really pretty like lace detail here. The hair has like a lot of movement and a lot of like really unique shape to it. And then this really big dramatic hat, right? So everything outside of the outfit is black, but it's still really strong. And then it doesn't take away. So that's like a lot of the concept is like you add and you take away, you add and you take away. So while this is a really long dress, you want to like all the visible parts of your body, you want to be super impactful. So the shoes, the parasol, the gloves, like everything else around it is really, really, really like stunning. And then you have like the dress that's also still being the main focal point and still interesting, because I know like people can sometimes struggle with like these kind of like longer coordinates and like what to do with them. There's also like if you wanted to add a belt, things like that is also makes it really interesting. And I think again, this is like a silhouette kind of like look and feel to it. So then we have Cereal. I think it's Cereal. I think that's how you say the name. But I really like this because I know that they've been posting like, oh, here's like before and after coordinates. So kind of like, I guess, coordinates that they had before and then like the improved version like a lot later. And I love it because it's like you can take coordinates that you've done before and redo them. Like, don't be afraid to take something that like, oh, I've worn that already. Okay, but how can you wear it again and make it different? With this one, I think the biggest change is the shapes that are being made with the outfit. Like, you can see like that very distinct like Lolita silhouette, but then there's these really big sleeves and this really big hair and these really round glasses, and then you have an underskirt and you have these really bold chunky shoes, and now you're like, wow, there's so many interesting things to look at versus it just being like, oh, okay, like that's just like a regular kind of like what we've seen before. And like the accessories are still kind of, some of them are still the same, some of them are different. So now there's like these crystal glasses to kind of tie back to that crystal dream carnival idea. There's like the crystal headband to also tie back to the idea. So you're just like inspiring other parts of your outfit with like the core, you know, dress, and then figuring out how to add more to it and make it really complex visually. And that's kind of like when you start being like, oh, Lolita's art, like, you know, when you start thinking about all these things. So these are all, I think, like really, really strong silhouettes that have, like, they're really eye catching when you see them, because you're like, whoa, like, look at the shape of the hat, look at the shape of the hair, look at the shape of the skirt, look at like, you know, the shape of the shoes, the shape of the sleeves. you really have to like pay attention to these details. And like the outfits also, if you look at all these outfits that I've shown you, aside from the casual ones, you know, the hair is considered, the makeup is considered, the shoe is considered. So you're really thinking about all these things versus it just being an afterthought. Even if like going back to this, even if you're doing something casual, like you're thinking about, well, what are you going to wear casually that's really cute and lowlyable? Okay, you don't want to wear these like really, really cute kind of like satin pastel shoes. So all those things are like super important things to consider when you're like doing advanced coordination. So if you want to practice advanced coordination, there's like a couple tips and like tricks to kind of evolve your wardrobe. So here's like a bunch of other people that I think are really great at doing advanced coordination. Here are all their handles. I didn't want to put them in the slides because I didn't quite get their permission to like put pictures of them. But there's like shout outs to like people that you can follow that are really great like coordinators in terms of like, oh, I never thought of wearing an outfit like that. I never thought of putting an overskirt on my OP, or I never thought of like, you know, just changing up the shape of what's there. Atelier Pierrot, like their Twitter is so amazing because they always post like staff coordinates. And I want to show you like what I'm saying, like when you transform an outfit. So look at this like very like basic plain like, you know, plaid OP. And they gave it a really cute like frilly collar, a really cool hat, an apron, you know, and now all of a sudden it's just such a different, it's like more elevated. It's a different outfit now, and it looks really, really cool because you're thinking about breaking up these shapes, you know, and especially with OPs, it can be really challenging, but think about what you can put over or under your OP to make it like really shine. Same thing with this one. Like this is the very like, you know, very basic like high-low cut dress, but there's like this really gorgeous bolero, this hat with a veil. Then on the side, there's like a black rose corsage, and that's like the texture coming back into it, especially when you wear all black coordinates or all coordinates that are one color. Texture is like really important. So like the different material of the fabrics, or the different material of the accessories, or certain things being see-through and certain things being solid. Like you have to really like think a lot. I know it seems like a lot at first, but once you get the hang of it, you'll just start making like really cool outfits. Again, AP Candy, who like makes these amazing coordinates. They used to make these amazing coordinates for like AP. They would mix colors like brown, red, and white. Like in plaid, like I would have never thought of that. So if you look at a lot of their outfits that they put together, like their flat lays, it's like, I would have never thought about putting these things together. And some of these things are like, this is not a shoe that's like an AP shoe, but it matches back with the outfit, you know? And the same thing with this is like, oh, here's these Converses with hearts on them, you know, to match back to this like heart skirt and this heart purse and then this red jacket. So like you just have to consider all those things. Milk Circus has a really great coordinate too, again, where it's like, here's a really bold, like printed blouse, and then having, you know, the eye rest here kind of with this JSK. So yeah, these are like other people you can follow, other accounts that are out there that might inspire you and kind of get your brain like moving. The other thing you can do for practice as well is like, if you see an outfit that's not Lolita that you really, really like online, like floating online, like this one, right? Like I thought this was so cute. What can you change about it to make it Lolita and then make it an outfit you can wear? So I took this like Sugary Hearts JSK and put it with like this really cute puffer jacket and like scrunchies, and it's like a really fun rollerblading pastel outfit. So like if you're brave enough to rollerblade in Lolita, but still like the aesthetic still stands, like you can see like, you know, these skates are getting the colors from the dress. This jacket is getting the colors from the dress. This purse, the same thing. These socks, the same thing. So you're kind of looking at like, okay, if the dress is the focal point, what things can I put around it? It might be unusual or different to really make it more unique and more me. This is also how you start getting into building your own style and building a wardrobe, because some people are like, oh, okay, I want everything pastel. So if you decide you want a pastel wardrobe, let's say even if you buy something outside of Lolita, as long as it's like pastel color, it could work with what you already have. So, you know, even like super cute little like color block pastel mask, like all this outfit, like if I saw someone wearing, I'd be like, wow, it's so cool. It's like really different to like think of like, oh, let me bring a puffer jacket into like a really cute like JSK and rollerblades. So this is based off of this outfit I saw. I was like, oh, this is cool, but like, how do I make it Lolita? And then sometimes you can find like other coordinates online and you're kind of like, oh, I really want to like pump up like how cool this coordinate can look. So I took like, the very basic like cinema doll kind of JSK and decided like, okay, what if like we pulled like they have like lipstick and makeup and we're like, okay, instead of a regular heart bag, what if you get like a little cute like lipstick bag? And then it's a lot of red. So it's like a more monochromatic coordinate with hints of like black in it, through the dress, through the head bow, through the shoes, and then having like red socks and a red shirt and a red fur coat and red earrings. And you look very luxe and very fancy and still really, really cute. But it's just like, how do you take that thing that is maybe like always shown to you this way and just elevate it a little bit by either picking things that can tie back to the dress, picking unique accessories, picking unique shoes, things like that. Yeah, so that's kind of all I have right now for the advanced coordination in terms of the basic like principles behind it, how to actually make a really successful, like more than just like what you like, here's a blouse and here's a JSK and some like OTKs and some like tea party shoes. Like those are all great, but I think what as you start like figuring out your wardrobe, you're sometimes going to want things that kind of crisscross into your regular wardrobe in terms of like your casual or other wardrobe that you can bring back into Lolita and vice versa. So you don't feel like, oh, my wardrobe is exclusively Lolita only. I mean, that's fine if some people want to do that, but I think a lot of us sometimes want to be able to mix and match styles. So really like that will help you kind of going forward. But yeah, if you have any questions, please let me know.
Got a question here. Can you talk more about texture for a Kuro look?
A Kuro look. Okay. So texture for a Kuro look, like, and this is even like a Shiro look, but anything monochromatic, what you want to do is look at things like matte, shiny, see-through, lace, because if you have all black, it does totally get lost, right? But let's say you have like a dress that's more like on the shiny side, maybe a little bit more satin, and then you mix it with like a bolero that's velvet, or mix it with a belt that's velvet, or mix it with something that's leather. So that's kind of how you start playing with the texture. Like not everything should be the same fabric, like it shouldn't be like a cotton belt and a cotton shirt and a cotton, it should be like, maybe a sheer shirt and then maybe like, a leather belt. And then, you really start looking at kind of, and it'll add a lot of richness, especially with black, because black is very difficult, but it'll add a lot of richness to the outfit when you start looking at like, okay, if I want this piece to stand out, if you get a harness with silver hardware, how do you take the silver hardware and put it in other places in the coordinate, whether it's your jewelry, your necklaces, your shoes can have, these are things that you kind of have to look at, especially with the color black. I feel like, like you want to mix velvet and like even like PVC or like vinyl. So now you have this like super shiny thing next to this super matte thing, kind of similar to like what the very first girl did. I think that's going to help you figure it out.
Could you actually go back to the early slides? Because we might have missed a couple of those.
Yeah. Okay. So this is what, So like, let's say, even if this was all like, let's say this lace wasn't white and it was all black, right? She at least has like this black velvet here. And then you have like this really like shiny PVC, and then you could think of like, she even wore like PVC gloves. Like that's like really, I think it's not unusual in a bad way, but it's really like, okay, here you brought this super shiny fabric and you put it next to this super like black fabric that kind of absorbs light. And that's really fun because now it doesn't look like a plain black outfit. It's like a little bit more than that. I think I kind of did it like here too. Like I'm wearing all black, but you can see that like this is see-through. So you at least get this detail here. This stands out a lot, this cross, to kind of enhance the silhouette. This is all black, like velvet. And then you have the lace, and then you have like the really, really shiny PVC. And then the gloves too is like shiny PVC. So you kind of get that contrast with the texture because you're not going to get the contrast with the color. Yeah.
All right. What are the best places to shop for unique accessories?
So many places. I think like you should, okay, this sounds really ridiculous, but like you should look at high end places and then look at like not low end places, but like places that are mid tier. So go, I know it's like really scary, but like go look at like a Net-a-Porter or like even go on these designers' websites and look at what they have, because a lot of people will go from really high up to where like the fashion houses are making really unique stuff. Like, for example, there was like the whole religious Sacred Heart kind of theme that was going on for a while, even in Lolita, right? And I think a lot of that came from even like AP, they recently did a print that looks like it's inspired by Dolce & Gabbana. And they're like Sacred Heart prints, but look at what they're doing up there. And then there's tons of other like fashion stores that are going to basically be following suit, like kind of either mimicking or doing things that are really close to that, if that makes any sense. So like, yeah, I would say like go look at the high end first and then see from there what other shops are doing. And it really just depends on your style too. Like, can I ask like what specific style you're looking for to buy unique accessories? Like, because then maybe I could point you in a better direction.
If I see that person post,
Yes.
I will bring it back in and follow up with that one.
Yeah.
But there are many questions coming in.
Oh, wow.
So what was one of your aha inspiration moments? Like, I recently figured out some stuff about color palettes because I hung up one of my skirts beside one of my blouses.
I think it was like, it's funny when I was making this like presentation, just in general, like I think my more aha moment is like, I'll really look at what a lot of like other JFashion people, especially in Japan, are doing. And kind of how, like you said, like you kind of hold things up next to each other and you start looking at things and how they juxtapose or kind of how they mesh together, even with color palettes and things like that. I have looked at a lot of JFashion from Japan, a lot of street fashion too, because I feel like I get a lot of inspiration looking outside of the fashion actually. So like when I see someone wear like a red fur coat, I'm like, oh, it'd be so cool to like put a red fur coat in like an outfit, you know? That's kind of how I get to those like aha moments. Or like sometimes I'll look at people's like outfits and like even like this one, I'm like, oh, even this one, like I'm like, what? Like you mix like stripes and polka dots and Harlequin and like what? Like how? Like and that's like insane when you look at it, because I don't think it strikes people to think about those things together. Because if someone told you, yeah, put on like every single pattern in the world and go outside, you'd be like, I'm gonna look really weird. I'm not gonna do that. So yeah, I think that's kind of how those moments dawn on me personally.
Related to the slide that's up right now, someone asked the Instagram of the Lolita that's with a silhouette label right now on this slide.
I will show you. It is Cereal. I think it's Cereal. Yeah. So it's SIIIRIOL.
All right. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Could a black dress with an accent of another color still be considered kuro? Same for a white dress with an accent color. Could that still be considered shiro?
I think not, because I think the whole point of like kuro and shiro is like, you know, black and white. So it's like all black, all white. I think it's kind of hard to get, which is why things like, you know, like a Venus outfit, like this whole shiro thing is like, it's important to talk about texture, because I think it can get very boring or limiting when it's, when you think like shiro, oh, everything has to be white and match. No, sometimes like things can be a little off white of each other. Like it's fine. I don't think it's gonna like kill the coordinate, as long as like you're not trying to do like a really, really dark white with like a really, really stark white. Like you have to kind of play around with it to figure it out. But I think the point of shiro is to keep everything like within the family of white. So even this harness is like white. Even I know like the makeup is like, and the hair is a different story. But overall, it's all just white. And yeah, you can incorporate like maybe the color in your makeup, because that's also another thing about advancing like the way that you kind of do your coordinates is sometimes like, yeah, shiro's all white. This is really, really like spot on a shiro outfit, but then the makeup's not shiro, you know? And maybe that's where you can add in that point of difference and that different color that you're looking for in the outfit.
Okay. I was wondering if you. Oh, I clicked away. No, where did it go? The question was about sizing. If you
Hmm.
have, here it is, advice about sizing because Lolita sizing is always super inconsistent, and I wonder if you have any pointers.
Um, I have been buying a lot from brands that just make my size, like a lot of indie brands, even like brands like Leaf, brands like Baroque, um, even Atelier Piero. I just try to look for things that like I don't get my heart set on something that may not fit me. I know this sounds like really restrictive, but actually it's incredibly freeing to be like, you know what, I won't care about that dress or I won't care about that thing if it doesn't fit me. If I really, 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 really am dead set on having a dress, I will get it modified. Like I will buy extra fabric, go to a tailor and get the like usually I have to get like the shearing panel in the back increased. Maybe like 3 or 4 inches to be comfortable. And it usually I think it still looks fine. I don't think there's an issue with that. I don't it's honestly it's clothes, it's your clothes, you own them, you do whatever you want with them. I've sold modified clothes too. Like I say I'm like, hey, FYI, this outfit or this dress is modified professionally. And it's kind of nice because then people will buy it and they'll be like, oh, I bought this like dress that's going to actually fit me and it was a dream dress. So I wouldn't be scared of either buying from more indie brands, even like Western indie brands. They make tons of sizes. They're really size inclusive. Even some brands on Taobao, not all of them, but some of them are size inclusive. I just find things that fit me, especially because like I think part of like the way you dress is like how things fall on your body and how they drape on you. So getting something that you feel comfortable and confident in is always like the most important thing to me, even when I'm making outfits and even when I'm collecting clothing. And if I really like, again, if I really love something, I just buy it and get it modified. Sometimes I've modified it myself too. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's just clothes. So yeah.
Oh, we had follow up the question earlier about accessories. Petite Madeline, they said that your advice was very helpful.
Oh, okay.
So right off the bat, but I do want to bring it back up because they said they like country style a lot,
Oh,
and
okay.
as do I. So I would love to hear your answer to that.
Okay, so the good thing about country style is that right now, so I when I look for accessories, actually, I'll tell you my personal process because the reason why it's hard for me to point out a store specifically is because I will look for things on the internet based off of exactly what I want. And it's always like so if you look at your inspirations, right? Like if you're inspired by country, for example, there's certain motifs that come to mind, right? Like they might be, wicker baskets, or it might be, gingham, or, there's just a lot of things that come to your mind when you're thinking of the style. So I will go on Google and literally search like wicker basket purse or wicker hat or and just see because you'll get a lot of really great even on Google, like you'll get a lot of really great things. I'll even go on Etsy, I'll even go on eBay. I even will look through vintage shops on eBay or on Etsy, because the style already, like it's country, so you're like, okay, do I want jewelry with fruit on them, to do like a really cute like fruit, gingham wicker basket coordinate. So then you look for each of those individual items and you put them together. And sometimes when you're looking outside of like traditional routes of like Lolita, you'll find really interesting items that aren't like, oh, this is an angelic pretty purse, oh, this is a baby purse, or, oh, it's just like something completely different. Everyone's gonna be like, where'd you get that accessory from? It's so amazing, because you're like really searching and looking for the thing that matches back to your outfit, and it becomes like really personal that way. So your accessories will always kind of be unique to you if you're not if you're searching for it like honestly like on Google, on like wherever. Let me see if I could see like this really cute AP, like this. I feel like this probably can fall into the category of country, but it's like, look at this cute heart shaped like wicker basket like style purse, and then these like wedges with gingham on it. Like this is like kind of what I mean when I'm saying like, look, you can look up things on Google, like look up, wedges with gingham and this type of purse and a gingham patch, because then you will find it if you look on, if you literally just go on Google and you look online for it, especially if it's specific to your style. And also the last thing is that cottagecore, I know it's like, oh, cottagecore, but cottagecore is like really popular now. And I feel like there's some crossover between some stuff that like maybe like accessory wise that people who wear cottagecore wear, and things that like a country Lolita might wear. So it might be even worth looking. That's why you have to like kind of keep your eyes on different trends that are emerging, because then you can say like, oh, like it's really hard for me to find accessories for country Lolita. Let me see what they have at like cottagecore stores or cottagecore storefronts online to buy from.
All right.
Yeah.
Next up, what are some Lolita staples for fall winter weather?
Ooh, jackets, fur jackets, which has like, again, you can do that whole texture thing. For fall specifically, I would say like you could wear like faux leather. It just depends on how cold it is and how much you can deal with it. But once you get into winter, you can start wearing a lot of faux fur. I feel like you need to get a good, cute pair of gloves that like can match multiple outfits. You need to get like a really cute like jacket that is either Lolita style or can fit into Lolita style. Um, like because Lolita, it usually hits your waist. What you want to look for in terms of something that may match, you either have to get something that's longer than the dress that you're wearing, or maybe something that's cropped. So you want to get something like, even if it's not a Lolita, because I think even when they make like moto jackets that are Lolita, they crop it at a certain point so that it matches the silhouette better. So when you're looking for moto jackets, don't just get like a moto jacket, look for a cropped like moto jacket. Same thing with like, if you get a fur coat, you can get a cropped fur coat, or you can get like a longer length, like faux fur coat. I think, and like scarves too, like ear mittens, like just things, anything that you need to protect yourself, obviously for the winter, are always going to be staples. But it's like, how do you find a really cute, like Loliable, oh, this matches like my outfits in and out of Lolita kind of accessories.
Okay, let's pivot to a personal kind of fun question.
Yeah.
Serial asks, what's the smallest, most seemingly insignificant accessory or item that has inspired a whole coord for you?
Ooh, that's a really, really great question. um, I had this like really cute like black and white bat ring, and I wanted to be like a bat maid because of that black and white bat ring. And so like I had gotten like a really, and it was like I think it was like a ghost like bat, and I thought it was just the cutest thing. And I was like, oh, ghost pets made. And then I had like that's kind of where my mind will go. And I kind of had this really cute AP like the bat, I call it like a bat maid headband, but they always sell it like every Halloween. Like everyone fights over over these, and I wore that. But then they had a second version that had like bat wings that came out the side. So there was like a bat at the top, and then I was like, that's cute. Let me combine it with this other headband, and it had like bat wings on the side. And then I had an apron, and then I had this dress from this indie brand. And it had like little zoo ghosts, like pets all over it. And it had like a ghost bat that was like similar to my ring. And I was like, oh, this is perfect. Like now I get to be a ghost bat maid. Like, and I also was going to go wear it to Disneyland for like the Haunted Mansion, which they have like this kind of bat maid motif. So like, that's kind of where my mind goes when I'm like making these outfits. I'm just like, oh man, like, wouldn't it be cool if like I was a bat maid, or wouldn't it be cool if I was like, I don't know, like like a bloody nurse, or like, like sometimes just like throwing words together, even if it's based off of like, a ring. It was like a ring that my friend like made or something. It was like the simplest thing. It was like, oh, it's a ghost bat. And I'm like, oh my God, I want to be a ghost bat maid. Like that's kind of where it goes.
Whoop. I guess I'm going to go with that question that I accidentally clicked on.
Ooh.
Any good alternative to polyvore for coordinating?
So there is not a good alternative, but there are. I like when I had to make this. Let's see if it's on here. Yeah. Okay. When I had to make this, I had to actually use it in like I had to do it in Photoshop. There is no great alternatives to polyvore, but there are a lot of programs where you can just like cut and paste, or you can collage items together instead of like, I know polyvore was really great because you could like do all these like cool individual, like you can lay it down, but I had to do this in Photoshop because polyvore doesn't exist anymore. So there's a lot of really good collage apps where you can just like, if you got this picture of this jacket and the picture of the roller skates, you can just kind of collage, like literally like select all of them and hit collage, and it'll kind of lay out the clothes for you on a grid. Instagram has like a version of it. Like you can like literally look up collage app in the app store. And that might be the best way to do it for now, because there is no more like polyvore. I had to do this on Photoshop. There is a couple of Instagrams, and maybe like maybe if you like find me on on IG, I can like send you the links. But there's one called Louis Vuitton, but it's like with 3 eyes in Louis, and they do these amazing like just styled outfits. And they kind of do stuff like this where they'll just like, oh, we style an outfit here, like what do you think? And people like go crazy and get a lot of inspiration from it. But a lot of the times, like I'll pull that outfit and then I'll modify it. So that's what I've been doing too, is like I'll say, okay, this is the original inspiration. How can I modify it? I'll collage it in an app, or just get all the images together and kind of look at them, because you don't necessarily need to always do all this. This is just like me being extra. But you can, once you see it all together, you can kind of get a semblance of what you're going for, which is like the general idea of putting an outfit together.
There is a heated debate right now in the comments about how to layer in hot weather. The AZ, Arizona and SoCal Lolitas say, what are jackets? So can you talk a little bit about layering in hot weather?
Yes. So know what fabrics breathe. Chiffon does not breathe. I don't know if anyone, like I used to think chiffon breathes, because I was like, oh, it's see-through, it should be able to breathe. Chiffon doesn't breathe. Try to avoid wearing too much. Like I think for a JSK it's okay, but like don't wear a chiffon shirt. Like you're gonna die if you wear a chiffon shirt. I used to live in California for 8 years. So the trick that I learned was that, like, I'm actually doing it now because it's kind of hot where I'm at now, even though I'm on the East Coast, is like I have like a mesh, this is like a mesh underdress. And then I literally put another mesh dress over that. And I have like bloomers and kind of like a tank top, but you can't see, like, you're not going to see my tank top, you know, and think like, I don't know if you can, let me see if I can back up really quick from the camera. Okay. So like, this is like mesh is pretty breathable. So I would definitely like stick to like mesh breathable fabrics. And then this is like also mesh and lace. And then you can see that like, you can't see my tank top that I'm wearing. And I'm also wearing bloomers. So like, I'm gonna step back. And this is like one layer. And then this is like the other layer. And I'm wearing like my bloomers. And then like no tights. And somewhat open kind of shoes. But I would recommend like figuring out how to like layer mesh is a really good way, because after you layer it like maybe once or twice, you won't really see what's under it. That's really important. No jackets. I think it's okay if you're in Arizona and you're in SoCal to not wear blouses. If you feel like it is too hot for you to wear a blouse, you don't have to wear a blouse. It's totally fine. You can wear like wrist cuffs if you want to kind of like, but don't, be aware that like when you're wearing Lolita, it's clothes, and it's more important sometimes that your clothes function than whether or not your clothes like kind of look like they're following the rules. I know that's like super controversial to say, but it's like, if you go to other, like I've been to other countries, I've been to Japan, and like a lot of Japanese Lolitas, sometimes they just dress for what they have to do. If they're walking around all day, they're not going to wear like 5-inch heels to like be running up and down the stairs in the train station and going back and forth shopping. They wear like sneakers. So you got to wear what like is comfortable for you first and foremost. And like, if you want to dress up things, you know, if you're wearing a JSK, maybe get like a cute mesh overskirt, you know, no chiffon, please. And, you know, get a hat, you know, protect your head from the sun. So like you're getting accessories that are kind of like useful. So you can get a sun hat, you can wear a JSK, you know, without a blouse, or you can wear a JSK with like a mesh shirt. You can layer mesh. Just don't overheat yourself is the most important thing. And like, don't feel like you have to like, oh, I have to wear like the OTKs and wear this and wear that. You have to wear what's comfortable for you and what you're going to feel great in. You don't want to really be walking around like being a hot, sweaty mess. Also, possibly, if you can, stay away from wigs. That's like a really important one. And I know that that's really hard for some people. It just depends. It's a situational thing. But if you can, like, try to figure out how to do your hair in like, a cute way. I think all those things are kind of important. So like hats are good summer accessories. Glasses are good summer accessories. Ankle socks. And then like if you feel like you have to cover up, then like maybe something with mesh and something that's breathable is like the most important. So yeah.
Yeah, the chat is saying a lot of these tips too. The one other one is hoop skirts. Somebody's saying,
Yes.
as opposed to
Yes.
petties.
Yes. Please wear
Get that
hoop skirt.
breeze.
I totally agree with that.
Okay, still talking about warm versus cool, but for colors. Question. Can you talk more about warm versus cool? I love to wear a lot of pink, but it can be hard coording, and discerning warm from cool or mixing pink shades.
So I would like literally like go online and look up like you can go like on Google and look up Google Images and look up like cool pinks, warm pinks, or look up like cool pink, like color palette, warm pink color palette, and look at what like usually what pops up is pretty good. And I would just look at that to kind of figure it out. I'm like kind of crazy because I'm a designer, so like I look at colors all day. I'm sorry, I'm gonna pull up my Pantone chips that are here. And it's hard to tell, but like, so this is really hard to tell. Yeah. So these pinks are considered more like cool pinks. Sorry, you can't see it. But it's pinks that kind of have more purple or more blue. So like take the pink and if you put it next to blue and it looks like it matches the blue color, it's probably a cooler pink. If you take the pink and you put it next to like a red or a yellow and it matches, like it's kind of similar to kind of how you look at things like your undertone for your skin and things like that. But when it matches like one side of the color family better, that's kind of how you can tell what the differences are between the two. So like you can look at a pink and tell if it has like, well, I can tell, but you have to train your eye too to kind of tell. And I think one of the best ways to train your eye is like take that color and put it next to like a warm or a cool color and see if it like, you'll see it like once you stare at it long, like good enough that it kind of harmonizes. And if you take like a cool pink and you put it against like a warm yellow, it's gonna clash. Like you're gonna see this like kind of vibration kind of thing going on where you're like, whoa, that doesn't look right together. That's kind of one of the best ways to kind of figure out something's like warm or cool, because basically warm is that it has more yellow, more red, and cool is that it has more blue, more purple. So that's kind of how you even blacks and grays are like that too. You can have a warm black and like a cool black, cool gray, warm gray. Like a cream is considered like a warm kind of color, where like a stark white can be interpreted as more of a cool color. So, like even if you go online and look at color wheels and look at like basic color theory, even cursory looking at it and kind of understanding it is really, really helpful, I feel like.
Okay. Any recommendations for plus size leggings made of soft or cotton blend materials? A lot of them are nylon based and they tend to make me very itchy.
Plus size. I think there is like Sock Dreams, if I'm not mistaken. Sock Dreams is a place that sells like a lot of like plus size stuff. I think they have a good amount of like possibly everything. Like they might have like nylon, but they also may have like cotton. They're fairly popular, I know, with like plus size people. And then there's this new brand called Thunder Thighs that just came out, and they do like thigh high socks. I don't know if they're cotton or not, but the other thing too is like if sometimes you get too hot in leggings, if you get thigh highs that fit you, you can literally just pull them up as high as possible, and it kind of saves like that whole area from getting like too hot for you, especially if you're wearing things like bloomers and stuff like that. Sometimes just getting thigh highs versus leggings, if you want, is kind of like a better option. But yeah, I think those two stores like Sock Dreams and I think Thunder Thighs both might have what you're looking for.
Okay, the chat is very excited, so I'm like trying to make sure I hit all the questions. Here we go. How can you coord a t-shirt or find t-shirts that are like cut sews? Brand cut sews are always too small for me.
Yes. One thing I saw that people are doing that I think is super cute, kind of cheap, but you have to be there's two ways of going about this. So one way is that you can take a like a really like old school Peter Pan collar kind of Lolita shirt and just because I've seen people do this and it looks really cool and wear a t-shirt over that and then wear like a skirt. And usually you tuck the t-shirt into the waistband of the skirt. And that looks really cool, even though it's like not a cut sew, because I totally understand. Another thing that you can do is you can maybe just buy because I had cardigans that I was like, oh, I can't wear like Lolita cardigans. So I've bought cardigans and like sewn lace collars onto them or sewn Peter Pan collars. Like you can buy like a lace Peter Pan collar or buy any kind of, you can just go online and find it and sew it onto like the t-shirt or sew it onto the cardigan. Because I think what makes like a lot of the cut sews really cute is like those little details, like having, the collar be lace or the collar be Peter Pan or be a really cool, unique shape. And then sometimes like I've sewn like lace or I've put like cute buttons on the side, like on the armband of like my cardigans or my t-shirts. So just like a little bit of DIY will kind of work for that. And it looks super, super cute. So either you could layer over a old school like Peter Pan collar type shirt, which I've seen people do that looks really good, or you can buy a t-shirt and then like kind of DIY parts of it to wear over. And there's tons of really kawaii, like cute creators that make, I think, Lolita appropriate graphic t-shirts. But I've seen people even wearing like their band shirts, and like wearing it in like a punk Lolita sense too. And it looks really good.
Marching band K.
Yeah.
Okay. What pieces work best with aprons? I love wearing them, but it feels weird over a JSK with a full top plus bottom pinafore.
Yeah, that's a lot. OPs are great for like wearing aprons. I think OPs is like, if you want to transform your OP, put an apron over it and it's like completely different, especially because, it just depends. But a lot of OPs have long sleeves or they have like a cap sleeve or a 3/4 sleeve. And then it's just always like, some OPs are really basic, the silhouette. So I think wearing it over that works really, really well. What else can you do it with? Yeah, I think that might be the one. With JSKs is kind of hard. I know some people sometimes they'll wear like a top, a skirt, and an apron over together, and that really works well, I think, too. So like a top, a skirt, an apron, or an OP are probably like the two best options for that.
Okay. Also, we're discussing right now, we're looking for the Thunda Thighs website. Is it TUH?
I think
Thunda, but with an A instead of an ER?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I think it's Thunder with like an A instead of an ER.
Okay, cool. Oh, yes. And then like two other people commented as I was asking you that. All right, great. We confirmed that.
Awesome.
All right. I sometimes feel like I want to give up on Lolita skirts. How do I make my skirts into nice coords that make me feel they're okay to keep? Or do you think buying a JSK is better?
Okay, so I think with a skirt, there's a lot of, like, if I told you, like, what's the most versatile and least versatile, like, Lolita pieces, sometimes an OP can be the least versatile, a JSK is in the middle, and then a skirt is probably the most versatile. But it takes some practice to kind of cord those properly. But it just depends on what you're going for. Like if you're going for a more casual kind of look, like what I just mentioned, people wear like those Peter Pan collars, t-shirt, and then like a Lolita skirt. If you're looking for something more like I guess elevated, or like if you're trying to do something more gothic, you can get a skirt and get like a really nice like belt. Either a corseted belt or actual corset to kind of help dress it up more. I think actually skirts are probably some of the most versatile thing because you can always change a top and then you just have your skirt. And then it's sometimes also a little bit more comfortable. It's really good for layering because, for example, if you had a blouse, a skirt, and then you had like a corset, like they sell those AP sells like bustiers, which are just like, it's kind of like a tank top shape with corsetting. And then you can wear like, shirt, bustier, and then like the skirt. You can wear shirt, apron, then the skirt. So it's probably really versatile, but I think it's challenging because then you have to go through the extra effort of getting like a shirt, getting multiple shirts that fit, getting, a belt, getting, like, so you kind of have to do a little more to get the versatility out of it. Where like a JSK is just you put on the JSK and then you put on the blouse and then you're done, or you put on the bolero and then you're kind of done. So it's just what you kind of want to spend your time on. But I think skirts are worth it, but you definitely, I think, have to spend more time thinking about how to coord it properly.
I believe I'm caught up on questions now. I just
Okay.
posted in the chat to double check. Oh, wait, here, somebody just came in.
Okay.
How do you like to incorporate your makeup to match your looks? Like, do you consider colors more or eye shape, etc.?
Yeah, I definitely have to consider my eye shape. Like sometimes I will look at like what some like Japanese lolitas are like. I even like when I'm trying to like imitate like Mana's makeup, I have to like be aware that I don't have the same like eye shape as like someone like him. So I definitely take my eye shape into account. I think I have like hooded, I think it's called hooded eyes. And some people like so when I have hooded eyes, so I try to do like the eyeliner thin so that you see more of my eyelid. Some people, they have this eyelid area is really high up, and so they have a lot of real estate for makeup. But when it comes to my outfits, like even my outfit that I'm wearing today, I have like blue lipstick to match like the blue of my dress. I do try to incorporate the colors of my outfit into my makeup if I can, and if not, then I do neutral. So if I feel like, oh, I don't think like, it's gonna work if I like put on like this green makeup or put on this blue makeup, I kind of just want to do neutral. I will do neutral kind of color, and I tend to do neutral makeup with like a dark lip because I just like the way my lips look when they're dark. But I do like if I'm wearing a red dress, I want red lipstick. Usually, that's just me. If red lipstick is too strong, what you can do is this thing called feathering, where you like feather the red. It's basically like from an Asian beauty trend, but you basically like will put even on darker skin, you can do it. But like you put a neutral color on your lips, and then you put like a red, and you kind of like fade it out, so it's a little bit not as like strong as like a really bold red lip. I definitely experiment with styles of makeup depending on where I'm wearing. Like if I'm wearing a really dramatic outfit, I'm probably gonna have really dramatic makeup. If I'm wearing a more regular outfit, I'll probably do something more neutral. For me personally, my hair and my makeup are just as important to me as my outfit. Like I always have to think about like what haircut do I have? Does it suit my face? Like what, eye makeup do I have? Does it match my outfit? If it doesn't match my outfit, is it neutral so that way I'm not like taking away from the outfit. Sometimes I don't wear makeup. And then the focus is just like, do I have a nice fresh face? And is like, my outfit nice and casual?
Waiting for more questions to pop up in the chat.
If there's no more questions, that's also okay. Put this back on.
How do you make your eyes look wider?
Wider.
Without
Okay.
Oh, wait, sorry. I'll get to your question, Dolphy. I just started on this one. How do you make your eyes look wider without stabbing yourself in the eye with your white pencil?
I used to do that. I used to do that a lot. I used to do like the wide eye makeup. You can like draw like under like your waterline, like because I know some people have a hard time putting makeup on their waterline too. But you can draw like right under. Like I've done like white like right under that waterline, and then like shaded under that to make my eyes look bigger. I don't do it as much anymore. But also another thing you can do is it's also how you put on your eyeliner on top. So I think when you put like if I put like all black up here like eyeliner, it does make my eyes kind of pop and look bigger. Because I feel like you have like my eyes are also dark. That's why, and that's like a trick for people who have really really dark eyes. If you want to make your eyes look really big, like you want to have like really kind of heavier top eyeliner makeup. But I think for the lower lid, like you just add some white right under your waterline, and you can extend it as far down as you like. It just depends on like how dramatic the style of makeup is. But usually you do white, and then you do like a brown or a black under it, or a blue if you're doing blue makeup. It just depends on what color makeup you're doing. But yeah, I think that's what I would recommend.
All right, the chat helped me track down the question that I missed earlier.
Okay.
Your coords are some of my favorites to see from the Lolita community, but I want to know who are some of your style inspirations?
Oh, in or out? Can I ask like in or out of Lolita? I'm not sure. In or out of
I will wait
Lolita?
and see if
Yeah.
the chat gives me the answer.
Okay. Okay.
I guess. Well, to start, can we say in
Yeah.
Lolita? Either they
Yeah.
say. Oh, they say
Either
in Lolita. In
in
Lolita.
Lolita. I think like Sporky, who I like mentioned, like I think Sporky's coordinates. If you followed Sporky for a really long time, I feel like Sporky has had some of the most like fun, innovative coordinates I've like ever seen. Like I remember when I was like really, really getting into Lolita, like Sporky would like upload to like LiveJournal, and I'm like, oh, this is so amazing. This is so amazing. So like definitely Sporky. It's really funny. I there's also another Japanese Lolita named Nahotas who's really inspiring because I like the way that she also chords. She does a lot more darker kind of theme, but sometimes she does really cute like classic chords too. So Nahotas, Sporky are both really really good inspirations that I like kind of look up to. Uh, Originally like mono was a big inspiration. A lot of VizK stuff was a big inspiration for me. I sometimes want to incorporate it more. Sometimes I like kind of veer away from it. Yeah, yeah. I think that's the major ones that I could think off the top of my head. If it's outside of Lolita, the one thing I can tell you is all I do is like look at runway images like this. Like
Yeah.
I'll go look like autumn winter 2020 fashion week. Like that's me.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah. The chat then after I said, "Oh, in Lolita," the chat then screamed, "We'll take any. We want to know everything."
Everything. Yeah, I would look at. I would seriously like there, because you. I think Lolita is really great, but sometimes it can be a little bit stifling because it has a lot of rules. So I think you have to look at like outside of Lolita to see how you could break the rules in Lolita. Like you all know the rules if you're like if you're doing advanced court, like not just advanced but just basic courting. It's just like where a JSK, it needs to be this, it needs to be that. Where this, but once you know all those basic rules, then it's like kind of the fun part is like, all right, I know all that. How do I break it? Like, so I look at a lot of like fashion. Like when I was looking at that bubble coat inspiration for like that like Lolita dress, I saw this and I was like, oh, this would be so cute if like you paired that with like a Lolita dress, or even if you pair it with like a skirt and like Lolita skirt and like a t-shirt and then like some really cute like Lolita shoes and then like some OTKs, or I'll look at stuff like this. Like this sweater is really fun. Do I get like a big oversized sweater to wear with my JSK? For this, like I'll look for inspiration, like, oh hey, like this sleeve is like so pretty, and this is like a really like I'll find a blouse like this. Like I'll either look for designers, like I Do Declare has a blouse that kind of takes this shape, but it's like, what if I wanted to like find another designer, or even if I wanted to take my I Do Declare blouse and like cut lace and apply lace to it. Like I kind of look at those things, and I also look at like the shapes being made. Or like even like these thigh high boots that go all the way up. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll wear like a skirt and I'll wear thigh high boots that go all the way up to the top of the skirt, where you don't see anything at all. If I was dressing in boy style, I would totally use this for inspiration for boy style for like the season. Like instead of, everyone's always wearing like these really thick, chunky boots, maybe you wear some like really cute, like Rococo, like styled sandals with your like, boy style outfit. So that's kind of like how I really like look for inspiration there. And then there's like places, stuff, stories, horror. Like I really like horror. So sometimes I like to do like bloody Guro coordinates, and it's based off of like, oh, I really love like, looking at horror aesthetics. So look what, and the thing is that when you look at those inspirations, it's going to tie right back to your style. So everyone's going to be like, oh, that's so-and-so's coord because they like to incorporate X, Y, and Z. Oh, that's so-and-so style because they like this type of theme. And it makes the fashion like more personal to you when you start looking for like inspiration. Cause like, we're not going to all like, I put all these images here because like, this is not my style. Like I'm not really necessarily into this type of style, but I think it's great. And I think people who are like into maybe sweet Lolita or like more the pastel side of Lolita might get inspiration from things like this, and people who are into punk might get inspiration from things like this, and, OG and so on and so forth. So like, that's kind of how I approach it. And like, yeah, like go on Twitter or go on Vogue and just like look at like browse through what they had like for the fashion week photos and see if anything like really, really talks to you and really like calls. And then you get to learn the designers that way, and then you kind of keep up with them and see what they're doing and, things like that.
All right. Okay, Azula asks, as a person with darker skin, how do you avoid getting makeup on all of your cutsos and clothing? I feel like setting sprays still don't solve this problem, especially wearing lighter pinks creams.
Yes. So there's two options. You can take a paper towel and literally put a paper towel over your, like, take it, clip it to your hair, or like, fasten it somewhere somehow on your face, and you put the paper towel on and you put on your clothes. That's one way. They also have these things called face masks, face shields. I think you can buy them online, and they're specifically things like in like regular fashion thing that people sell that you just put it on your face. They make you wear it in Japan too when you're trying on clothes in the Lolita stores, just FYI. But you just cover your face, and then it doesn't really ruin your makeup or anything. It doesn't really like smudge it too much or anything like that. And you just put on your clothes, and then you take your face mask on, and then you saved your clothes from getting any type of makeup stains and things like that. Also, like, just be careful of like, don't, this is why like kind of matching your foundation is really important too, because like don't put things near your neckline, don't put things like where your skin is meeting the clothes, because you can't really do anything about that. Like, you can put on setting spray, but like I don't think there's anything that's going to fully prevent any type of staining from happening aside from not putting makeup there. So if your neckline, your shirt, maybe don't put like, get a foundation that matches your skin better than to try to sit here and paint your face and your neck because you're scared that it's two different colors. Get something that matches your face, and only try to keep makeup to your face, and then like when you're getting dressed, put on a face shield or a paper towel.
All right. Besides Violet Fane, are there any other horror themed EGL brands that you like to look at?
Who else? I think like I try to like get the horror out of like what I'm looking at, because I feel like it's not a common theme. So if a brand is coming out with like a nurse themed outfit, I try to think of like, because like Triple Fortune is not a horror brand, right? But they make that really cool blood splatter skirt, and then they make the blood splatter tights that like everyone like really loves. But like that's not their bread and butter. That's not what they make all the time. So I'm always like constantly looking out for things that I can interpret as horror. So like even Alice and the Pirates, they did like this really cool like vampire JSK, I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago, and it came in like blue and it came in like red, and it was like really cool illustration and looked like hell basically. I also got like a Hieronymus Bosch, like Garden of Earthly Delights JSK from Le Falcon, and you can like there's literally horrible images printed on it. So like you can incorporate it in that way. Like sometimes like really old classical paintings kind of have that horror to them because they're like memento mori and they depict death, and like there's even like I think a Medusa skirt like with a painting of a headless Medusa. So I kind of try to keep an eye out for what brands are doing because it's not common, but I also try to think like, okay, I like nurse stuff. So like if a brand comes out with something nurse, how can I make it look like? I did that with I did that with this one. This is like a physical drop, like nurse thing. And I was like, oh, how can I make it like horror? Okay, let me like do this bloody kind of apron silhouette and then mix it with like these bloody tights. And then like, red makeup and bats and things like that. So it's kind of like you gotta, oh yeah, this is one of the Alice and the Pirates ones. It's this other one, it's not that one. But I just keep an eye out, like look at because you can literally follow all these brands and look at something and decide, can I interpret that as like horror? And I think that's more important is like, how can you take something? I think Violet Fane definitely is. I feel like they're probably like the brand that does it the most and the best, but I don't think it's a common enough motif. So I'm always like constantly looking out for like things that I could, twist in that sense, if that makes any sense.
Chat is also sharing their favorite horror themed brands with everybody. I've
Yay!
seen Elegy pop up and
yeah, that's great. Yep.
All right. Any suggestions for coordinating? My gosh, I have such a hard time saying coord today. Coording with less common colors like turquoise, orange, beige, etc. Having trouble finding Lolita accessories outside of typical sweet and goth palettes.
I think that's like when I go back to the point of like, look at what's happening in other spaces. Cause like maybe like there's Mori, there's things that are similar to Mori, there's things that's like cottagecore where they're using like unconventional colors like olive greens and like mustard yellows. And then there's like accessories that kind of you can find along the lines of that. That is definitely one of the cases where I feel like some brands, especially I feel more Taobao brands are actually heading or creating, like there was a cardigan that just got released. If you keep up with like Chinese Lolita updates, and they have like an olive green cardigan and like a mustard yellow cardigan, and I think a brown one too, more neutral. And they have like a cream one as well. And you kind of just have to keep your eyes in different places. But I know that there's also like a lot of like cottagecore brands that are popping up where I feel like you can get like a cute cardigan that might match, or even looking at stuff that's like Mori related that might match back. Because I know it is pretty difficult if it's not like gothic or like sweet. So I think you have to go through the extra step of like looking online. But what I'll do is, because like I'm like listening to all these questions, so I think what I want to do on my end is like maybe on my like Instagram I'll like look up things and then maybe create like a master post that's like kind of addressing these questions more in depth, because I feel like that'll be like really helpful if you're looking for something and you're not really sure where to find it and like Google search is not turning up. I'm really good at researching, so I'll find something that I think would work for you if that's kind of what you're looking for.
I think we've caught up on questions again. If I have missed anybody's question, please repost it.
And I think we have 7 minutes left, so.
Correct. Yeah. So only time for a few more, but you can hit up Kaiser.
Yes.
Your Instagram is Cursed Kaiser.
Yeah, Cursed.Kaiser.
There we go. I'm going to put that on the screen. Ooh. Daydream Carnival says, I have a controversial question.
Uh-oh.
And then presumably they're typing it right now. Suspense.
Uh-oh.
Well, it's been a lot of fun for me. Surprise moderating your Q&A.
Oh, yay.
So thanks for having me on here, incognito.
God.
Okay.
Yeah, I would love to like moderate or work with you again on another panel. This is fun.
The controversial question is, what do you think of high quality animal ears or brand animal ears in coords?
I'm going to have to go with brand animal ears. I feel like quality wise, well, because think about it like this, a lot of the times they make their ears to match specific outfits. And I think with that in mind is why they can get away with it. Now, that's not to say that if you want to, because I've seen like these really gorgeous, like beautiful, like ears that these people make commissions of, I think online. If you can find like a way to make that work for your outfit and it looks gorgeous and like, put together, then go for it too. But my personal bias, I think, is that I think brands kind of do it a little bit better just because they design it with their existing dresses, shirts and dresses and skirts in mind. So I think brand will win on that one. But I'm open to being proven wrong.
Okay. Chat is saying things like clutches brand pearls. Shaking the table.
Oh no, saying
controversial but brave. Well, do you have any other closing things you want to make sure you get in?
Yeah, no, I think like the one thing I want everyone to also understand is that this type of coordination, it takes a lot of practice and time to really master. And I think once you master it, you're going to feel like so amazing and confident when you put outfits together, and you're going to just have so much fun with the fashion beyond like, just following the rules, but also like give yourself the grace to like not beat yourself up if like you make an outfit and it's not that great, because that's also like the one big thing about all of this. I feel like, especially me, like I experiment a lot and not everything I do is great. And I'm like totally fine admitting that. And I think like you have to kind of admit that too when you're making these outfits, that like, oh, I tried that and it kind of looked like not great. Like it looked kind of whack. So keep trying and don't like beat yourself up if it doesn't work. Like you might have an idea that may need several iterations to prove out properly, or it may, because even me as an artist, like you draw, and every time you draw, you get better. So it's the same thing with making outfits and dressing up. It's like you're gonna like take an outfit, like again, like like Serial's outfit from like 5 years ago, and just rework it, and you will come up with something amazing every time because you know more, you learn more, you have more access to accessories and to different articles of clothing to really elevate what you're doing. So like, don't give up, don't get discouraged, but just be aware that this type of coordinating is really, really experimental, and it may not always work out the way that you think it is, but it's not, you shouldn't give up on it. It's like totally fun and amazing to do regardless.
All right. Somebody asked if you would post these slides anywhere.
Yeah, I can post it. Just either I'll probably post it on my account because I think these will be really great. But also, I just need to. I did ask for permission for these from the people that are in it, so I just need to ask them if it's okay, if it's in a living document somewhere, and then if they give me the okay, then I will post them. And if not, I can post it sans them, and I'll just put their accounts to follow. Yeah.
And this video will also live on our Twitch for I think it's 2 or 3 weeks. Twitch lets them stay up, and then the Black Ribbon is going to make a YouTube channel to post, with permission, all of the panels. So you'll probably be able to catch it again later.
Yep.
All right. Well, I'm going to echo what the chat is saying, and thank you for a great panel.
Thank you. This is my first panel.
What?
Yeah.
What? Oh my gosh.
So thank you.
Well, you're a natural at it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, but everyone's been really great, so I'm really glad that they all asked their questions, and that, yeah, I'm really happy with this.
All right. Well, thank you, Kaiser, and everybody stay tuned. Next up, we have Sailor Senshi Showdown to test your Sailor Moon trivia. So have a great rest of the afternoon, and see you at Serenity. Bye.
Bye.